Good morning, Piscator pals. I've got to be a little bit quiet this morning. The sun's just coming up behind me, as you can see, and I suspect there's a lot of people on these boats here having a bit of a sleep, and in the flats behind me. But I've still got to chat to you, so I'll do it fairly quietly to begin with. Welcome to Portishead Marina, where I, the passionate piscator, is going to attempt to catch some sea fish. That's a bit of a change, right, from those coarse fish I normally catch. But I do love a little bit of sea fishing, and I don't get to do enough of it. This isn't what you really call like intense sea fishing, fishing from a marina. It's basically a little lake full of salt water, but it's packed full of amazing species of fish. And I'm going to see how many of them I can catch today, just to sort of whet my appetite for a little bit of sea fishing. I've got no sea fishing gear. Well, I'd say no, I've got a little bit. I've got the rigs. I've just got all my normal carp fishing stuff. I've just set it up. I'm just going to rig up, put some bait on and cast out and see what little delights we can catch. It's been a hot minute since I've sea fished, so it's going to be a real adventure. I'm absolutely half asleep still, don't get me wrong. But those fish will soon wake me up when they start coming in. Anyway, let's get started. You don't have to have all the sea fishing gear to go sea fishing. I've got a couple of carp rods. Well, actually they're barbel rods. I don't really carp fish for carp with carp rods anymore. I like using lighter rods, but they're barbel rods. They're a little bit more springy and you can see the bites a bit easier. The fish I'm going for today will only be little tiddlers like this. So, you know, you don't need to really beef it up. In a marina such as this, there's very little rocks, there's very little snags, so you don't really need to fish very heavy. I've got 1 ounce leads on, 12-pound line right the way through, and I've got myself some sea fishing rigs from Real Fun Fishing here in Portishead. Just literally tie them on the end, and you're ready to go. Bit of bait, you're catching fish, no worries at all. It's very, very simple, and it's kind of the entryway into sea fishing, I always think. Using your existing coarse fishing gear and getting out there, giving it a go, and seeing what you can get. Title of this one will be The Piscator Goes Crabbing. Amazing. I do love crabs though, look at them. They're like creatures from another world. Big claws. Best way to grab a crab, by the way, it's on the back of a shell like that. You don't want to get the business end of them around your fingers. But yeah. This is on the little jig. There's my little jiglet. It's got a little bit of ragworm on, well it did have. And I'm just jigging it along the bottom, and the crabs are coming out and grabbing it. Anyway, back you go. Here we go, first fish of the day. A little goby. Look at that. See if I can get the camera to zoom in on him properly. Get me out of the frame. There we are. How about that? First fish of the day. Gorgeous little goby. What a beautiful fish. Whee! The dancing goby. Let's pop you back. Smaller one than the last one. Ooh. Come on then. I want to keep the hook in you so you don't drop. There we are. Another gorgeous fish. Look at that. Right. Stop dancing around. Mwah. Back you go. Here's what's on the business end of the jig head. It's just a mush of ragworm on a little jig. But currently all I'm doing is flinging it out like that. When it hits the bottom, I'm just sort of pulling the line in really slowly. There you are, it's on bottom. I'm just sort of playing it like a harp, really. And it sort of bounces over the bottom. And then when I feel a bump, I go boop and just pull the line. Nothing happened on the other rod yet. That doesn't mean it won't. I've just seen an eel going through the water. It looked like he had some sort of red growth on his head. Maybe an attack from a cormorant or something. So I don't think I'll catch him. He's having a bad day. There we go. It's very relaxing. Having said that, I've spoken to 2 or 3 people this morning, which doesn't make it the quietest spot, as you can imagine. Oh, got a bit of seaweed on the end. The only problem to dragging it is you get a load of green. There we go. The other alternative is just to sling it down there. Wait till it hits the bottom. Reel in a touch. And then sort of pull the line like that. Just in one spot, up and down. It's quite nice. It's quite a nice way to spend the morning. Jigging around for gobies. Just want the other one to go off, really. I've got some really big full length ragworms on that. If that goes, chances are it's going to be a bigger fish. Not that I'm unhappy with catching the gobies, of course. They're fantastic. I haven't caught one in many a year. But I have now. If you don't go, you don't go. Don't go, you don't know. That's the way it is. Ah, it's lovely. Need more of this, really. I need to get out here and catch a few more sea fish. And as I say, this is the best way. This is the entry-level way, coming to a marina where it's nice and safe and secure. Let's give myself a touch more line. There we go. Beautiful. Also, you're not very far away for a quick drink if you want a drink, and something to eat if you want something to eat. There's a really nice fish and chip shop at the end, which I might indulge in later on. A celebratory fish and chips. Right. The fish have slowed down a bit now. So, what do? Do I move? Do I move spots? I've had nothing on the other rod at all. A lot of jingles on the little jig rod I've got. Where do I go if I do move? There's always a lot of mullet. Well, I come to Portishead fairly often, and there's always a lot of mullet down by the shops at the very far end there, eating bits of bread that people chuck in. But they are incredibly difficult to catch. Oh look, another angler, fantastic! I'm not the only one. But is it worth a little move? I think I might give it another hour here and then move along, perhaps down that way, and see what's going on down there. It's quite a big marina, and there's plenty of spaces to fish. It's free to fish, but you have to behave yourself. And this is, we're saying to everybody, as you saw in the pictures and videos, there are a load of yachts here, a load of boats and yachts and very expensive bits of machinery and kit. And it's one thing that's going to get you kicked off of here quicker than anything, and that's casting near one of them. Now, don't get me wrong, I know that boats are fish holding places, but the last thing the boat owner wants to hear is your 1 or 2 ounce lead smacking up against the side of their boat. So I would recommend highly staying away from them. There's plenty of other little nooks and crannies you can get into, a lot of edges and open water and jetties where there are no boats. And I would suggest trying to find a place where there's a few of them, so that you don't get in anyone's nerves. Let's face it, if we were lucky enough to have a nice boat here in the marina, the last thing you'd want is some bloke coming along and chucking rocks at it, or lumps of lead in this case. But yeah, I think another hour or so, and I'm going to move on down somewhere completely different and see if there's any fish about down there. Keep active, keep moving, and keep myself warm, really. Baiting up your rig, easy as pie. I've got a load of ragworm in here. Look at that, delicious. Underneath some nice wet newspaper. There you are, that's your ragworm. This is the business end right here. This is its jaws, its lovely wriggly tail. The jaws on the end, 2 very sharp pincers. Be very careful of them. They sort of come out of this end here. There you go. If you give them just a light squeeze, you can see that's his little mouth just on the end. But you take your ragworm baiting needle, and at one end, I don't know if you can see, it's got a little sort of hole, and the other end, it's completely rounded. Anyway, just pinching the top of your ragworm head like that, you take the rounded end and just thread the ragworm carefully all the way down. You don't really want to break the ragworm. And you can thread this guy all the way down very carefully. That'll do about there. Right, there we go. Now you take a hold of your hook, you put the hook tip into the end. If you can see it, I've got no glasses on. This would be fun, wouldn't it, for the bloopers? Steve can't bait up a hook. There we go. On the end, then holding it tight, slide the worm up and around. It's got a bit of a kink in it, but the fish won't mind. You can even pull the head up above there, and there you are, a beautiful ragworm bait, all baited up, ready, hopefully, for a delicious fish. Incidentally, this species of goby is a black goby. It's quite common around the UK. It likes sort of sandy and muddy bottoms. Who doesn't? And the male makes little nests out of seaweed and stuff to attract the ladies. Here we go. Just moved areas. A change is as good as a rest, they say. And that's it. A bit of a change. Different view as well. It's also a little bit warmer here as well. behind the shade of those I think jumped out there. Behind the shade of those flats and buildings around there, it was blooming cold. But now I'm out in a little bit of sunshine. Not that I want to stay in it too long, because I will burn to a crisp. And I've already had a bit of heat stroke yesterday. But yeah, this is good. This is a nicer spot for me, anyway. Whether it is for the fish, who knows? I've got a nice big open space in front of me to cast into. Less features, unfortunately, but maybe the fish are out in the middle. Maybe the fish are out sort of milling around, moving about. I've seen a few things moving around out there, which I suppose are fish. Who knows? Anyway, same tactics. We've got one further out with 2 hooks baited up with ragworm. I've got one really close in, which I'll be jigging around and moving around and putting right along the edge, probably for some more gobies, which I am really enjoying catching. I love catching fish, and I love catching mini species of fish and new mini species for me to catch. Well, not new, I've caught gobies before in the past, but something different. Smaller fish are just brilliant to me. Absolutely love them. People don't really care about them, they don't really fish for them, they don't really target them, and I really get a lot of joy being one of the only ones that bothers with them. Anyway, let's see how it goes here. See how the sun crisps me to a little prune. And yeah, just enjoy the rest of the day. Beautiful. Here we are. A little flatty. Look at that. Finally, the sleeper rod went off. Gorgeous. Oh, let's pop you back into the water. Oh, the wind's picking up. I think that was probably a flounder. I'm not very good with flatfish identification. Or quite a lot of sea fish identification, actually. No doubt you can put a little note in the comments if you think it's something different, if you know better than me, a coarse angler. But I think that was a little flounder, only a wee one. It was nice to get something other than a little goby, that's for sure. Although I'd still like more gobies. I just can't seem to find any here. But finally, the other rod went off. I was a bit like, did that really go, or was that just the wind? Because it hasn't gone all day. Anyway, there isn't long left of my session here today. I've got to get back to the hotel I was staying in and pack up. But you never know, might be 1 or 2 more out there. I could do with the wind calming down. It's hard to tell if the tips are going or if the wind's blowing them. That flounder could have been on for minutes before I struck into it, really. But, oh well, went away okay. One of the things you definitely need here is a landing net with a really long extendable handle. Like, really long. Luckily with that fish, I can pop him in the net, stick him in the water, wait for him to recover, and then release him nicely. The only problem with the area now is it's getting quite busy, full of people, and whilst I was trying to get a picture and a video of that fish, 3 separate individual groups of people came over to have a look at it, which probably meant it was out of the water a little bit too long. Well, certainly too long for my liking, which is why having a net to pop it in and let it recover is the best way forward. And whilst I was chatting to them, I was just holding it in the net bringing it out to try and take a picture, popping it back in the net, and trying to keep it happy, really. Anyway, it went off strong enough. But yeah, I think probably another half an hour or so, and I'll head back to the hotel, sort myself out, and then head back to sunny old Bristol. I'm winking, by the way, because I've just done that. And I've put suntan lotion on, it's all gone in my eye. It could be an angler. Oh, now I'm a pirate. Arr. Right, Piscator pals, I think that's me done for the day. Time is up. I'd love to stay on, but no, I don't think I would. It's got really busy around the marina now, people everywhere, and it's not as nice as it once was this morning. Anyway, I packed one of the rods up. I'm using the last of the bait to mess around with a few crabs, which are milling around down the bottom here, and I'm going to head back to the hotel, tidy myself up, tidy all my fishing gear up, and get back to Bristol. One of the most important things to do, of course, when I get back to the hotel is to wash all of my gear, because the salt water and the salt air would have got into all the reels, and I don't want them rusting up. So take care of your gear when you're coming back from a sea fishing trip. But yeah, it's blooming crabs. I suppose there could be a few gobies down there, but I think they're crabs messing around. Anyway, I've got to stop messing around. I've got to head back and call it a day. I stink of fish, which is a good thing, but I've got to head back. There's also a guy doing donuts in a boat right in my swim. Well, I don't suppose you'd call it a swim, but yeah. So I can't cast out for anyway. It's that time of day. It's a time of day to call it a day and head home. But what a fantastic, fantastic morning. And it is still just the morning. I mean, I've still got all the day left. I'll be back. I'll be back down the marina again, see if I can catch a few more different species. See if I can get a few more gobies. Maybe a blenny, maybe, oh, there's loads in here. Bass and black bream and mullet and all sorts. But I'll probably see you guys again on the bank, at a river, or at a lake, or a pond, or some sort of fresh water anyway. Anyway, thank you for joining me today here at Portishead Marina. I will see you guys next time. Bye! Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!